Welcome back to the homestead. Today at the cottage, I'm taking you through some of the seasonal rhythms that help us move through the hardest parts of winter. For me, it almost always starts with something warm, a favorite cup of tea or coffee or whatever feels comforting that day. These cozy drink recipes were Christmas gifts from my mom. She made them for all of us girls and they become such a sweet little winter ritual. I will have all the recipes listed in the description below. What I've learned about seasonal living is that it often shows up as a reflection of our own lives. Living through the colder, harsher seasons can feel a lot like weathering a storm. We have to walk through the cold to truly feel the warmth on our skin. We have to stand in the rain to appreciate the sunshine. And winter is one of those hard seasons for so many. That is why this time of year pulls me toward quieter things. Reading, going to the library, writing letters, keeping my hands busy with work that feels steady and comforting. These small rhythms help carry us through even the hardest seasons. As the winter days stretch on, January and February seem to be some of the hardest months of the year. It is cold, and especially if you work outside of the home in the element, it can feel like the longest season of your life. But I have learned that breaking up your day truly matters. Sometimes this looks like baking something warm and cozy to fill your home with the sweetness smell and to fill our bellies with something good. Sometimes it's changing a small corner, redecorating, and finding shifts to bring out your creative side. Or maybe it's sitting down to write a letter or keeping our hands busy with something familiar. Maybe you have a sewing project you would like to complete for a friend. Or maybe you just want to light a candle and watch a good movie. Those are all small choices that help us shift the weight of the day. This keeps our minds engaged and gives us something to look forward to and remind us that winter doesn't have to feel empty. Maybe you can use this time to learn a new skill: canning, preserving, sewing, crocheting, knitting, watercolor, painting, poetry, writing. The options are endless. It's just about learning to put that time into our day and make it feel our own. Welcome back to the homestead. We're snowed in the cottage today. We're getting another snowstorm. There's another one on track in a couple more days, but looks like it's tracking a little bit south. So I apologize. This video was supposed to be our pantry tour and our bulk buying and building a home pantry, but I got about 3/4 of the way filmed today. I was supposed to head to the Amish bulk store nearby to stock up on a bunch of stuff that I'm out of, but the weather just wasn't worth it. So it will be coming next week. But your second vote on our community here on YouTube was how we stay cozy and things to do within the winter months, because winter is really hard for some people. It can be very hard for me too. You don't have a lot of sunlight if you live in a northern climate, that you get a lot of snow, freezing rain, cold. It can be really, really hard to get through these months. But I actually really do look forward to the winter. I'm really excited for spring, but being on a homestead, raising animals, gardening, growing flowers, doing a lot of the farm aspect, spring, summer, and fall are extremely busy. So winter is kind of our off downtime, and it is a time where I can really focus on some hobbies that I don't get to during the spring and summer months. But I'm just like everybody, I can't wait till warmer weather. So I thought I would go through some of my favorite activities and what I'm reading and share just a few things for you to do. Of course, if you're not into the chit chat, fast forward through this video. We don't just sit here and talk through the whole video, but it is something, a way for me to connect with you, get to know me, and I really love chatting with you. So to get started, one of the things I wanted to chat with you, you saw earlier, is I love to read. As I'm kind of actually, I never loved reading as a kid, as a young adult. My mother is just loves reading, and she reads hundreds and hundreds of books every single year. I could never keep up with her, but I do love to read, especially during the winter months. In the spring and summer, I tend to listen more to audiobooks, but during like late fall and winter, I am at the library checking out books on Hoopla or Libby, which are digital books through local libraries, and I am just reading and I love it. So I thought I would share a few of my favorite reads and ones that I'm reading right now and give you some ideas. So I don't just read this genre, but my favorite genre is definitely magic realism. I was a kid with a very big imagination and would play all by myself and kept myself very entertained. My sister, who is 9 years older than me, likes to joke around and I would sing and dance in the mirror, which probably makes sense that I'm now on YouTube and I create content for a living. But I always loved just the imagining of living a different life and the magic that can come with that. So magic realism is one of my favorite genres. It gets that imagination that I had as a kid, just fine-tuned as an adult. And I love immersing myself in other people's stories. I love to feel what other people are feeling. So my current reads right now are The Lost Bookshop and The Bear and the Nightingale. So I just finished The Lost Bookshop. I think it took me a day and a half to read this. Could not put it down. I would say 4 out of 5 stars. It follows 3 different characters. One character back in the early 1900s, and then 2 present day characters. And it is literally about a missing bookshop and a lot of different stories within that. Obviously, we're talking about a bookshop, so there's going to be a lot of different stories in it. I absolutely loved it. I would say 4 out of 5 stars. It definitely has that cozy feel. It doesn't take place during winter, but it definitely has that cozy, imaginative feel. I highly recommend. So the next one is The Bear and the Nightingale, and I've heard many, many good things about this, but I am on, I think, chapter 5 right now. Let me see. Chapter 3 right now. I started it 2 nights ago and I'm still on chapter 3. I'm having a really hard time getting into it. I think I might play it as an audiobook and listen to it. it's a little bit slower. The characters are a little bit different than what I'm used to, but I want to love it. It's based in Russia during winter. I think back in the 1800s. I'm not sure if they gave me an actual time yet, but I'm just having a hard time getting into this one. I will keep you updated what I think about this one. If you don't follow me on Instagram, head over there, follow me, and tune into my stories. That's where I keep a lot of my updates at. And then I thought I would bring in some books I've read that I highly recommend for this time of year if you like the magic realism. The first one is The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penner. I think this is the only book I've read. I believe she has a sequel coming out. If it's not out yet, I'm not sure. It takes place in the 18th century and modern day. It is I love a good historical period with magic realism, so it kind of flows into that direction, just like The Lost Bookshop, and it's very, very good. Another one that I could not put down. Highly, highly recommend if you're into especially magic realism with a little bit of that historic anything. If you have a period piece, I absolutely love it. The next highly recommend, especially during this time, is the Outlander series. They have a television series. I'm sure you've heard of it. If you haven't, highly recommend it. It's on Stars. But before you watch it, if you haven't watched it yet, highly recommend the book series. I believe there's 9 books out right now. I'm on book 4 or 5. I'm on book 4 or 5. Absolutely love the Outlander series. It is a historical time period taken back in, well, throughout the late 1700s, but it has a little bit of that magic realism, which is time traveling. The main character is, I believe, in the 1940s, and she travels back in time to the mid to late 1700s, and basically has to choose between 2 different lives that she's living. It is absolutely one of the best written books, best written series that I have come across yet. I would love to visit Scotland someday, but I'm a little nervous flyer, so I'm not sure if I'm going to make it across the pond. All right, so on to other activities that I do. In the winter, I like to do a lot of things, again, that I don't have time to during the spring and summer, and some of those is learning different hobbies, and this is watercolor. I have 2 of these watercolor paint books that I have been slowly making my way through. One of them is bouquets and one of them is winter scenes. They have just a slight outline, and then it comes with just like a cheap watercolor set, which is fine by me. It gives you like a color palette to mix with, shows you how to mix them, and you can go ahead and paint your own little cozy picture. This is one that I finished up a couple days ago. It's like a little A-frame cottage. It's so cute. Definitely not an artist, but it's one of those things that it's fun to just sit by the candlelight with some good music and do. Everything I talk about, I will link in the description below. The next thing I like to really play around with is learning different things, herbal remedies, bath and body things. In the next week, I want to make some rose water face spray and rose oil. I have made, obviously, elderberry syrup that I've shared with you guys. I believe I've shared it here. I have made different types of tincture, like mullein tincture, different things that we have collected over the summer. We've dried and preserved, and now I can make them into different herbal remedies and bath and body things. And I really like this book. It's called The Forgotten Home Apothecary.
what I like about this book is the way it's laid out by sections. So for instance, they have a cardiovascular system, they have a digestive system, they have respiratory system, nervous system, and then it's kind of laid out as a medicine cabinet, and it gives you different types of tinctures and sloths and things that will help with whatever that ailment is in that section. I've tried a few recipes. I've tried the garlic infused honey, cough syrup, onion and honey cough syrup. There's some really good things in here. So when it is cold outside, we have preserved all of those herbs that we have foraged or grown. Now is a time that I can really pay attention to it. And I also love that it's during cold and flu season, and anything that I can do to help my family stay a little bit healthier during this time of year is super important. I have no idea where this fell out of, but hopefully it wasn't an important one. So the next idea I have, this one, I'm not sure I've really seen a lot of people talk about here on YouTube, and that is good old pen pals. I used to have a pen pal growing up. When we were in elementary school, we were working with other elementary schools around the country, and I was assigned somebody, I believe it was in Texas, and I absolutely loved that experience, being able to write letters in the mail. I'm old enough that I am older than email, so that was a lot more common to get mail than it is now. So I think it's a really fun idea to find a pen pal and do good old-fashioned snail mail. I will link a couple sources where I have found pen pals in the past, and there's actually if you're into homesteading, there's actually a homesteading group that I have gotten several pen pals from. We swap recipes, we swap seeds. It's been a really amazing thing, and it's something that definitely helps those winter months go by. And who doesn't love some happy mail? That doesn't cost anything. So you're going to see our full haul here in probably another week or so, but seeds are starting to come in, and today I'm actually starting my first batch of seeds. So garden planning starts in the winter here, and especially during this time of year when all you want is warm weather, what better time to just sit there and dream about your future garden. If you've never gardened before, or if you are an experienced gardener, either way, this is a great time to plan. I have got all of my flower seeds, not all of them, all of my flower seeds from Johnny's has come in. I'm still waiting on oops. I dropped all my Lycianthus. I'm still waiting on probably 3 more batches of seeds. So we grow flowers for profit. We have a flower stand. We do workshops here on our homestead. That is one of our income sources. So I have all of those. And then we also have our homestead garden, where we grow everything that we eat fresh and that we can preserve for the winter months. If you want to know more about that, a lot of that will be in our pantry video next week. So we have a lot of planning to do, a lot of different sections, and we grow a lot of things. One of the things I'm super excited about this year is I'm growing my own tea garden. I love tea. I started really getting into herbal teas probably about 4 or 5 years ago, and I've been wanting my own tea garden for a long time. So I'm really excited about that. I will be doing a full garden plan here on YouTube, so keep an eye out, subscribe, and I will keep you updated for that. But the first ones we're starting actually today, you'll probably see a little bit in this video, is our Lycianthus. These are a very, very slow growing flower, but they look like roses without thorns. They're so beautiful, and one of my favorite things to grow. I think most flowers are my favorite flowers. I can't really pick one, but these ones are definitely in the top of the list of one of my favorite flowers. The last thing I want to chat about here is doing some other hobbies, and this is crocheting. I'm not very good at crocheting, but I decided this year, I lost a stitch when I moved it over here. Last year I had saw, I believe her name is Bree. I will tag her below. She has a homesteading account here on YouTube, and she inspired me to make a temperature blanket. And I have just a basic stitch. I've made plenty of washcloths and pot holders before, so I thought I could handle this one. And so I'm doing a temperature blanket. And if you've never, that is when you get a bunch of different yarn and you assign a yarn. One second, I'll grab my little sheet. It'll be easier for this is my little cheat sheet. So you get yourself a bunch of different yarn and you assign them to a range of temperatures. For instance, below 10 degrees, which I haven't used yet, but I will be probably on Friday. I assigned this one between 10 and 20 degrees, this one 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50, and so on. And every day, the temperature high of the day, you knit, or not knit, you crochet one row. So each color represents the day of the temperature. You do one row every single day, and at the end of the year you have 365 rows, all of them assigning to the average or the high temperature of that day. So this is January so far. I believe it's the 21st, the 20th or the 21st. So we have about 20 rows. Actually we have 21 rows because between each month I am doing a white divider. And so right now, this is our row from yesterday, and that was between 10 and 19 degrees. I think the high yesterday was 15 degrees. And then we had this big warm up right here. It was 50 degrees right here. And then this one was 40 degrees. So we've had quite a few ranges of temperature this January. So it kind of acts as like a little calendar for temperature. I really like it. I think I did mine 200 stitches across, and then there'll be 365 plus the dividing row, so an extra 12, probably 13 for another extra 14 rows for the beginning and the end. So highly recommend this. If you haven't gotten started, you could definitely catch up. It isn't that too far into the year. Or what my mom did one year is she did a smaller blanket, or maybe she made her rows longer. I'm not sure what she did, but she did one row every week for 52 weeks and did the average temperature for the whole week. So there's an idea for you. So it might take you along. So let's go ahead and go start seeds and see where else the day takes us.
Even though winter has us tight in the grips, we're already looking ahead to the spring and summer seasons. We're starting seeds, making plants, and getting ready for the growing season, which all happens during winter. If you'd like to follow along and subscribe, we'd be happy to go over all of these things with you. In the next few weeks, we'll be sharing our full garden planning video, walking through what we're growing this year, how we are planning our garden for the season before it begins. As the day winds down, this is usually where we land, something warm on the stove and a little planning for what's ahead. Winter may feel slow, but it's still moving us forward. However you're spending this season, I hope you're finding small ways to make it feel warm and cozy. Thank you so much for hanging out with us here again on the homestead.